It's the one and only David Spoon Experience on AM 1210 K-Praise, the Christian station.
Welcome back. Thank you for joining us here at AM 1210 K-Praise, the Christian station here in San Diego, California. You're about to experience something you've never experienced on this show before, which is in 5 years and 24 hours. That's saying a lot, isn't it? Because we've done a lot of weird stuff, folks. It's just one of those things that we do. With us is Brian Slater, CEO of Abundant Bread of Salvation Ministry, which we are going to discuss with him, and he's actually going to translate for us. We've never done that before either. We're going to talk about the Adapt a Holocaust Survivor program, and we'll let him give all the proper names and everything along those lines. But as you are listening, so you're listening, going, thinking about it, couple things to tell you ahead of time. The phone number, first of all, the website, abundantbread.com. Is that correct? Is that the website, all right? And the phone number, 213-265-9796. We're going to talk about that. We'll get into that in a little bit. First of all, welcome to the show, Brian. Thanks for coming.
Thank you so much. It's wonderful to be here.
All right, let's start with
Shalom.
Shalom. Okay, now maybe just a 30-second, 45-second, your background, so people go, who's Brian? What's the deal? You know, to let them know a little bit about you.
Yeah, well, Brian is a native Californian, actually. I'm also a Messianic Jewish believer in Jesus. That's someone who was born of Jewish parents. And I made Aliyah to Israel 21 years ago from California to Israel. So now I'm a dual citizen of Israel and America.
Wow.
Yeah, California.
That's very cool. All right. And then you have, in your heart, you have a ministry. It appears that you like to make that connection. As a Messianic Jew, you like to, connect people who have a similar background, plus also people who have a rich connection to the Jewish traditions and the Jewish history and the Jewish heritage.
Correct.
And so in that process, you have developed a ministry or two that goes along those lines.
That's right. Well, we have a humanitarian aid organization called Abundant Bread of Salvation, as you said, and me as the leader of it, my faith happens to be Messianic Jew, but what we do is very broad in serving our people, Jewish people, in the most practical ways. We do it with no strings attached, and we provide for them food and clothes and do special events for them on a weekly basis.
Wow, that's pretty good. And your guest with us today, his name is?
Nachum Kerpilevich.
Okay, shalom.
Shalom.
Good to have you. How long have the two of you known each other? Can you
Yes. Well, Nachum is a native Russian and Hebrew speaker. He doesn't speak English, so I'm going to translate for him. And we've known each other for probably at least 6 to 7 years. And he is the leader of an organization that helps specifically Holocaust survivors. He himself is a survivor. And I brought him with me here to California, and it's his first time in America.
Wow. Well, thank you for being a part of our show. What motivated Nachum to minister, to decide to help people from the Holocaust? What was it that motivated that?
הוא רוצה לדעת, נחום, הוא רוצה לדעת מה משך אותך לעזור עוד ניצולי שואה.
לא הבנתי הכל.
למה אתה עוזר עוד ניצולי שואה? למה? You're hearing Hebrew now, by the way.
Yes. ניצולי שואה הם אנשים זקנים מאוד.
The Holocaust survivors are very, very needy people and obviously went through the Holocaust and had a challenging life.
יש בעיות בחיים, יש בעיות בבריאות.
And every one of them have problems with their health and with their finances.
יש בעיות עם הילדים, עם הנכדים.
They have challenges with their children and their grandchildren.
וכל אחד הביאו למקום שאני עובד שם, ואני נותן עזרה לכל מיני בעיות שיש בניצולי
And
שואה.
everyone that comes to him, most of them have issues and problems, and they come to Nachum, and Nachum does whatever he can to help them, not just in word, but in deed.
Very good. Thank you. That's very, very good. And your connection to helping him, I mean, you've known each other 6 or 7 years, and you met. I mean, you had to have some kind of maybe.
Yes.
What happened when you guys met? What was the hi, how you doing? Have a coffee. I mean, there's got to be something that happened.
Yeah, when we met, it was all connected to the nonprofit organization that is Israeli-based, is Israeli government recognized, and I was already receiving people from social workers, and the city of Netanya is where we're based. That's a city that's on the Mediterranean coast between Tel Aviv and Caesarea. And so I heard about Nachum and him being the leader of the organization in Netanya that helps Russians, Jewish Holocaust survivors. And so I told him, I want to help you guys with food bags that have 25 different products in them. And do you have a need? And he said, yes, and he cares for, at that time, it was about 300 Holocaust survivors just in our town.
Wow. That is really impressive.
Mm-hmm.
In your helping them and the food bag, did you have it, or did you recognize, okay, this is going to be a much bigger ministry than I had anticipated? We got to kind of raise the game here. You know what I'm saying?
Literally, I started from scratch, and I found a storefront, and that was just an absolute dump. And I found the owner and signed a contract with him, and painted the whole place, and started with just 50 Holocaust survivors when I went to Nachum, and then it developed into helping Ethiopian Jewish immigrants and widows, single mothers, and the Holocaust survivors. Nachum kept sending more and more, and asked, and we have an application process that they fill out to see what their true needs are and what their financial needs are, and so this is what ties into what you announced, the Adopt a Survivor program, because we want to help them with more than just food or clothes. These people, they need financial assistance as well. There's many things that the Israeli government cannot provide for them in regards to their glasses, hearing aids, good teeth, all the things that a lot of us take for granted.
I imagine that there's a large need for many survivors to also have contact, to have relational contact, where they have people to talk to, people to share with. And that's one of the important elements to me is that connection to it. Nachum could provide a tremendous amount of just life wisdom in just the sharing process, and it might be somebody thinking they're going to minister to him by helping out financially and by touching into his life, but it's going to be an equal touch going back the other way.
Absolutely.
As he blesses them.
The word of God that says that he'll bless those who bless Israel.
Yeah. I got to ask you this question. I got about 3 minutes, so it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough to do, but I'm going to ask you to translate. We might go an extra minute if we can do that. I want you to ask Nachum, what is the main message? If he had a platform and he would just, you could get to say 2 sentences to everybody who can hear you, what would that be from him?
Okay. נחום, השאלה שלו זה אם היה לך רק 2 דקות להגיד דבר הכי חשוב לקהל ששומע אותנו ברדיו, מה אתה תגיד להם?
אני רוצה להגיד להם שאני הייתי ילד קטן, בן 8, והתחיל
I want to
הגטו.
tell them when I was an 8-year-old in the ghetto camps in the Holocaust.
וחיים בגטו היה קשה מאוד.
And the war started, and life was extremely challenging.
רק בסוף 41 וההתחלה של 42 נפטרו מקר,
It was at the end of the war in 1944.
לא היה מה לאכול, היו
There was
מחלות.
extreme coldness, freezing conditions. There was no food. There was diseases.
נפטרו במקום שאני גר שם 12,000 יהודים.
And in this place where the Gestapo and the Nazis gathered all the Jewish people, there was over 12,000 Jews that were massacred and died because of these terrible conditions.
Wow.
ובסוף אני רוצה להגיד שאבא שלי נהרגו לפני כמה ימים שהצבא הסובייטי
And
שחררה
I want
לנו.
to say that my
Yakimish.
father, just 3 days before the ending of the war, he was killed by the Nazis. And may I just add that, this little glimpse of this story that you're hearing right now, this is what I know is on the heart of Nachum, is that the generations following us will know these stories, and that will never forget, and not just never forget, but that whoever's listening to this right now will pass these stories on, because believe it or not, in the modern world that we live in, there's people that deny the Holocaust ever happened. And here's a man in the flesh that has been through it and survived by a miracle.
Wow. Very, very powerful. So here's what I want to do. We've got another segment coming on the backside, and that's where I want to concentrate on the Adopt a Holocaust Survivor element. But I wanted to hear that because it's important for people to recognize scripturally, morally, the implication from a humanity point of view that our responsibility to carry on the story, the things that took place when Israel as a nation failed to communicate that to the next generation. That next generation grew up at a greater distance from the Lord. And that's the one thing that the people better be aware of, is the further disconnected you get, the worse that becomes for the morality of that following generation. So you're listening to legend material on the radio. This show's not even worth the value that these people can bring. I really encourage you to check out abundantbread.com. abundantbread.com. Phone number again, 213-265-9796. We're going to take a short break, come back with more with Brian Slater. Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to the David Spoon Experience here on AM 1210 K-Praise, the Christian station here in San Diego, California. Short break, we'll be back.
It's the one and only David Spoon Experience on AM 1210 K-Praise, the Christian station. The David Spoon Experience continues on AM 1210 K-Praise, the Christian station.
Welcome back. Thank you for joining us here at AM 1210 K-Praise, the Christian station here in San Diego, California. You always hear my brother. He doesn't get a lot of props. He's the one that does all the music on the ins and the outs and so on and so forth. So, he's pretty good for an older brother, I suppose. Anyhow, we are hanging out. Now, we are doing something we've never done. We've done two things we've never done. We're hanging out with Brian Slater, CEO of Abundant Bread of Salvation Ministry, with Nachum, who is part of the Adopt a Holocaust Survivor program. He's one of the spearheads as a survivor, as a Holocaust survivor, helping other Holocaust survivors with tremendous needs, financial, personal, just supportive. I mean, prayer, I shouldn't even have to say that part of it. And what they have, and we've only got so much time to do it, but I want to make sure we get it in, is they have this Adopt a Holocaust Survivor program. So, Brian, I'm going to give you a few minutes, just kind of like tell the people, what is that?
Yeah, well, this is a program that we recently put together specifically to help the Holocaust survivors financially. We help them already in many ways, and the Lord Yeshua put this on our heart to help them go the extra mile to talk about giving them a monthly gift that will help them through with their financial and economical challenges. And so what we're doing, we're asking people to come on board and stand with Abundant Bread of Salvation in supporting them with a $200 a month gift. Of course, it doesn't have to be $200, but we picked that number because it's a substantial amount that can really make an impact in these people's lives as we help them on a monthly basis and do all the other things that we're already doing. This will help them with hard cash to in the remaining days, literally, because they're dying every day of their life. And the time is urgent. As Nachum would say, a few more years from now, there will be no more Holocaust survivors to help. And so this is so, so urgent. I can't tell you enough how urgent the time is. And it's obviously scripture-based.
Yeah, I mean, there's there's very few people who listen to the show are going to have any problem with understanding that process. I did want to cover some of those numbers. The average age of an Israeli Holocaust survivor, 87. Is that correct? So 87
That's
years.
correct.
So that kind of tells you where they're at in regards to the
timeline.
The timeline. I mean, there's just no way around that. And there's roughly about 160,000 Holocaust survivors, and they're dying off at a pretty. It's not that it's an abnormal rate. It's just that there's no sustaining of that generation because you can't sustain that. This is one of the things that we have to be aware of.
And this is not just your regular generation. This is the generation that went through the most atrocious thing in their life. During the World War.
One of the most atrocious ever. I mean, just
Thank you for clarifying that.
Just right at the top. So I encourage people who are listening. I know that you guys sometimes will talk to you about causes. And, sometimes that cause works out really good and it goes great. And I'm never in charge of that. You guys are in charge of that. That's what the audience does. But here's a cause that you can contribute to and participate in and add quality of life towards the end of a life. And that's pretty, just say it what it is. I mean, that's what it is. And it's, maybe it's 200, maybe it's 100, maybe it's, I don't care if it's 10. I don't care what it is. If the Holy Spirit's kind of moving on your heart, do something with that. Don't just ignore that. The Lord doesn't stir you up because he's bored. Okay? He does it because he has a plan and there's a purpose.
Amen.
And so you got to come, okay, I get that. So again, I want to make sure we get the phone number and the website, because especially the website for those who are listening on the radio, abundantbread.com. Again, the word abundant is the word abundant. And the word bread is bread, so you put them together.
Don't forget www.
Yeah, we don't. That tells me how old you are. I'm just saying, All right, 213-265-9796. If you have any problems getting in touch with anybody, call the station, have them leave me a message, and I'll get back to you and make sure that the connection gets made. But I want to say a big thank you for you to come out and do this. It's not an easy ministry. I mean, I know it's not an easy ministry.
It's very challenging.
Nachum, thank you. Thank you for coming, and I appreciate you being here. I just want to say God bless you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, see, that's good. He said it as good as I do. There you go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, that's going to call it for this hour. You've been listening. Shalom. You've been listening to the David Spoon Experience here on AM 1210 K-Praise, the Christian station here in San Diego, California. Taking a break, you're going to hear Marty, then we're coming back for more. Don't go anywhere.
כשהלב בוכה, רק אלוהים שומע, הכאב עולה מתוך הנשמה, אדם נופל לפני שהוא שוקע, בתפילה קטנה חותכת הדממה, שמע ישראל אלוהי, אתה כל יכול, נתת לי את חיי, נתת לי הכל, בעיניי דמעה, הלב בוכה וכשהלב שותק הנשמה זועקת. שמע ישראל אלוהי, עכשיו אני לבד, חזק אותי אלוהי, עושה שלא אבחר. הכאב גדול ואין לאן לברוח, עושה שיגמר כי לא נותר בי כוח. כשהלב בוכה הזמן עומד מלכת, האדם רואה את כל חייו פתאום. אל הלא נודע הוא לא רוצה ללכת, לאלוהיו קורא על סף תהום. שמע ישראל אלוהי, אתה כל יכול, נתת לי את חיי, נתת לי הכל. בעיניי דמעה, הלב בוכה בשקט, וכשהלב שותק הנשמה זועקת. שמע ישראל אלוהי, עכשיו אני לבד, חזק אותי אלוהי, עושה שלא אבחר. הכאב גדול ואין לאן לברוח, עושה שיגמר כי לא נותר בי כוח.